We're having total little delays, so if you just bear with us, we will be back soon. Hi, I'm just going to remove James. There we go. Sorry, we were going to start together, but his delivery came. Thank you so much for joining me. You're absolute angels. If you like this content, if you could just like a wee thumbs up for the video, really helps with the algorithm. Also, if you could share this would be great. We are going to be talking about grief. We will be touching on subjects that are probably quite triggering for people, but I think if we share, I mean, it's something that we're all going to go through. And I just think if we share how we deal with it, maybe tips that have helped us, then, sorry, I'm just reading the comments here, right? And Craig just has to come in with, my wife is leaving me because I'm going bald. I'm not bothered. It's hair loss. I miss my wee button. So, yeah, I'm going to get James in just now. Just want to say hi to Beasley. Thanks for joining us. Kath, thank you so much for joining us. Teresa, Craig, all my mods are in the house. Crazy Bunny, oi oi. Admin in the house, yeah. Yeah, Lauren, hi, thanks. So I'll brush it off. Craig, honestly, you need to get a new job. I'm only joking. Right, going to welcome in James. He is from the Pure Love Foundation. He's also got his own personal channel, which is James Collins Cares, and I will put the link in the description box if I've not done already. Go and please check out his videos. He does gardening, he does cooking, and this is aside from him obviously helping the homeless and feeding them and setting them up with stuff. So yes, without further ado, here's my wee favourite Canadian. Oh, I'll unmute you. Oh, there we go. Oh, how you doing?
Good evening.
Check us with our tans and our hairdos, eh?
Yeah. Freshly done hairs today, both of us looking slick, looking sharp.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was like quick dye it pink. So yeah, it's been an eventful day, shall we say? Well, yes. I must say, I woke up this morning to my darling son's text. I've left my passport and a wallet on the plane, and he was. I'm like, this is what? No. Then the next text 3 hours later was, it's okay, I found it, panic over. So honestly, I was like up to 90s, and then I went back down because it had all been dealt with in the whole time that I'd been sleeping. So yeah. And then his plane had to do an emergency stop when they were taken off in Dubai, and they had to change planes and everything. But I'm glad that he's changed planes and he's not on the same plane that was going to take off with the technical difficulties. So son, if you're watching, even on replay, I love you, and we're all covering you in divine protective light for your travels to Australia. You'll get there soon, son.
And enjoy that trip, young man. Enjoy that trip. It's one of a lifetime.
Absolutely.
Because we only have one life. So wherever you go on a trip is one in a lifetime.
Yes, exactly. I think everybody should travel at some point in their life independently and not just like a holiday. Actually go for like a few weeks, pick up the culture and just, like absorb it. I done it when I was 19. I went to Israel. I've been quite a few times. I've got family there, but I went at 19 on my own. And I think that was the beginning of growing up, to be fair, because you have to be independent. You've got no mum and dad or anybody to be around. So right, yes, I really recommend it.
See, like I had traveled quite a bit. I'd been coast to coast Canada. Nice. And then in 2011, I went to Europe with my partner at the time for 3 weeks. But I had never traveled alone until after my mom had passed. And Christmas had come around and I just got I knew Christmas was coming and my mom loved Christmas so much. And I was sad. I'm by myself, but not alone, or alone, but not by myself, however we want to say it, And I was like, well, Christmas is going to fucking suck. So I called my homie and I had booked a flight to Amsterdam. And I was like, bro, can you take me to the airport on Christmas Day? And he's like, on Christmas Day? I'm like, yes. I'm like, but it's in the afternoon, so you can still do the presents with your kids in the morning and go do the in-law stuff in the evening. It's like smack dab in the middle of your busy festive day. Brilliant. And he's like, man, He goes, I'll do that for your Christmas present, even though you don't celebrate Christmas. He goes, you have to accept this Christmas present if you want to make it there. So I flew Christmas Day to Amsterdam by myself for 2 weeks.
Wow.
And just said, you know what, I'll be with other people that don't celebrate Christmas, or I'll be with other people that are just alone, and I'm going to go meet some single serving friends, and I'm just going to go and enjoy life. And it really did open my eyes to a whole different thing. I had no one else to rely on. Like, even when I was in Europe, my wife had never been there. So if we got lost or turned around, we had to both use our skills to figure it out together. Yeah. But it's so much different when you got to figure it out by yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know?
Even like just being in the airport. Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Sorry, that was weird. I've just seen a wee comment from the Spiritual Effect. Now, because you're talking about grief just now and obviously being alone, that's our topic for this evening is grief. Now, somebody wrote a really nice thing for me and it's on my phone. I asked them to write something about grief. So I would like to share it. He's given me full authority. His name is Shikesh. His name is Shikesh and his channel is The Spiritual Effect. He's in the comments just now. So if you can go and give him a wee sub and a wee like on his wee videos, that would we're all here to help out each other grow. So
yes, we are. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing this.
And this was beautiful because I feel that grief is something different. It's the same thing. We're all going to experience it, but it affects us all differently, and different departures, shall we say, can affect us differently. You can get delayed shock and delayed grief and stuff like that. So I did ask a few people.
Different cultures have learned different things.
Yes,
there are some cultures that take zero grief in the loss of a loved one. They still have grief in life, which is part of talking about grief. Talking about grief and grieving is not just about a lost pet or a lost brother, sister, parent, neighbor, partner. There's a lot of things that bring us grief in life. And together we're going to discuss these things, and we're going to learn new skills from our community members, from Zoe and myself. And that's how we build ourselves into stronger characters, people. I love you. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what we want to be, is growing with each other. Like you say, coping mechanisms. You lost a lot of friends in quite a short time, didn't you? Yeah.
Well, I mean, I probably haven't gone 3 years without losing somebody close to me. Yeah. But June in its own sense is a very hard month for me. It's my birthday. It's the anniversary of my mom's loss. And 3 ride or die homeboys all died in the month of June, all within 6-7 years. And it took a real toll on me because I'm like, oh, it's my birthday month. I'm really supposed to be celebrating. And my mom passed on the 21st of June. Come on, people, summer solstice.
Yeah, right? Absolutely. So absolutely.
I took that so hard until this year. I was speaking with my dear friend, Nicole, and I was like, how does one celebrate? You know, like, how do I celebrate? I don't have enough money to go and do a bunch of extravagant things or whatnot. And just with jibber jabbering through ourselves and allowing my thoughts to come, I realized that, and for this is the first time ever, I really truly celebrated the loss of my mom and my ride or die homeboys, because I realized by truly living my life and being my true authentic self and doing the best I can every day is celebrating them. And it's honoring them. Rest in peace to your grand Craig.
No, I just noticed that. That was quite significant. I mean, it is a significant date. And
so it's like we chose to come here, and we choose when we leave. So it's like my mom knew what the solstice meant to me. So I swear to God, she chose to die here and become everything on that day. And it was going to be hard, but once I figured it out, then it would be a total celebration of my mom's life, as well as the celebrating of all things on that solstice.
Yes. See, for me, what I would do is obviously get a plant or something like that, and that would be my symbolism to them, and I would plant it in the spring, and then obviously in summer solstice it would be blooming, and I see death completely differently to what I did 6-7 years ago. In a way, and I'm so sorry if I offend anybody, that is not what I'm here for at all. I think that when somebody dies, it's like, well, they're all right. Like they're away on the Rainbow Bridge. They're away to go and do their soul, come back, whatever. It's us. It's the anger, the resentment, the shock, first of all. Then you've got the anger, and then you've got like the sorrow. But like you say, there's the release, there's the ritual that goes with it, and whatever culture that may be, that really does help people sort of deal with it, if you know what I mean.
can.
Yeah, and I just feel that when I've gone on the spiritual journey, I look at death completely different. Like in a way, basically a friend had lost a child, and they were like, "Oh, what a shame for the child," and I'm like, "No, the child's fine. It's the family, it's the sisters and the brothers and the mum and the dad, you know,
Right.
and that's why you've got to watch out for them." And grief's like something for me that can rear its ugly head anytime. You know, I lost a partner to suicide probably about 15 years ago, 14 years ago now, no, maybe 15 years ago. And there is still days that, you know, I think, oh yeah, I'm over it. I'll never be over it. It was a very, very bad time. You know, that's how I got PTSD and stuff, among other things. But I wonder why I get that grief pool. I call it a grief pool because it takes you back to that place where you've lost them and you'll never see them again. And I think that's what it is for people, not seeing them again, not seeing that physical sight, but they're always beside you. And I think that's what has been on the spiritual journey. I know that they're here. You can call on them, you can light a candle. I just don't see death as death anymore. It's not a final thing for me anymore. So I kind of celebrate it.
Yeah, it's a final part of this existence.
Yes.
Right? See, I think the hard thing, you know, mentioning a child loss. Okay, so when we lose our parents, we expect that. Like, we expect that our parents will not outlive us. So
it's true.
We're prepared for that. So it makes us realize our own mortality when our parents die. Like, oh yeah, we're next, kind of thing. Like, we're mortal. This is part of life. But when a parent loses a child, they lose their chance at immortality. Through their genes live on through them, and it makes them immortal.
Yes.
Because it's part of their soul. Your child, your son, part of his soul came from your nurturing and your care and your anger and all of those things. So that will always live on through him. So if he passed away before you have this whole new thing of like, I'm not immortal anymore.
Yeah, totally.
Like, when I die, it's over. There's no more of me out there.
True.
Right?
True. And I can't imagine, you know, losing a child is something that I could never. In fact, saying that, I've actually got Trudy's son's badges on. Benjamin took his life in lockdown. And the other badge is saying that every day is suicide prevention. And I'm actually going to wear them every stream that I do until the kitten bloody plays with them again. I couldn't find them. I was having a panic. But the kitten's been playing with the badges. But I couldn't, I mean, like I say, I'm like, oh yeah, grief's all right. Yeah, if Dylan was to die tomorrow, I would be like, I don't even want to think about it. Yeah, so there you go. Like, I'm saying this is the way I view it, but if it actually something is drastic like that, I would be a broken woman. Like you say, that's what lives on. And I've only got one child, you know? So yeah, I totally get that. I totally get that. Sorry, I'm just seeing there's a lot of comments, which is great, and I'm loving that everybody's talking. Kath, I'm really sorry to hear that. When my daughter died, I didn't want to bury her because I didn't want her to be cold. I know that sounds mad, but that doesn't sound mad. That's complete. I would be exactly the same. I wouldn't want to let go of my child. Like, I'm so sorry that you had to go through that, Kath. Thank you for sharing that as well. I knew that this show was going to be not a dark one, but we're all probably going to speak about quite heavy things. But I just feel that we can all help each other. I'm going to read the thing from Shikesh, if you don't mind, because I feel bad that I've not done it. Grief is something that we all experience, but not always in the same ways. Nevertheless, we all think of it as losing someone when they have died. But grief can also happen when you've lost something after experiencing a certain kind of trauma. I remember some years ago while I was in therapy where I had this light bulb moment while experiencing a lot of emotional pain. I couldn't understand it or even place a name on it until I realised I was grieving a life that was once possible to live. But after experienced trauma, I could no longer live that life that I once wanted. It was in that moment where I realised that one of the worst things ever is feeling dead inside when you're still alive. That's a very different kind of grieving. Thank you very much for sharing that, Shukesh. Honestly,
Yes. Thank you,
I
Shakat.
understand. Yeah, I get that. It's like a grieving for a part of yourself. I kind of done that when I came back from the Cambo retreat. Like I said, I didn't purge much at the retreat, but when I came home, I cried and cried. And it was like I hugged myself and I said sorry for all the self-harm and self-abuse and no boundaries and stuff. And it was like that. It was like I was grieving because I was saying goodbye to that. You know, it is like you say, out of chaos comes creation, you know.
Yeah.
And I feel that especially like with things as heavy as grief, because that you can take it or you can leave it. You can destroy your own life with the grief, which is trauma, or you can choose to, like we do, like grow stronger and choose ways to get better. Like how do you deal with grief? You know, what's your go-to? Because obviously you're sober now. You know, like how do you deal with grief these days, James? Passing
Well,
grief, sorry.
I don't. I guess like when I had that a bit of a more awakening in June, they're like,
Right,
why
okay.
am I grieving these people?
Yeah,
I was like,
that's right.
it's like, how many people in the world? They say
That's
8
right.
billion. Okay. How many of them never had a single ride or die homeboy? And for anybody watching, if you don't know what that means, the 3 men that I lost, rest in peace, man. Skip, Brian, and Eric.
Rest in peace.
These were men that if I called them and like, yo, man, I ain't got no choice. I'm heading to the fucking bank and I'm going to fucking kill everybody. And we're getting out of there with as much money. And we got to get the fuck out of here. They were like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Let me get my favorite shirt because that's all we're going to have kind of thing. These were people that like, you could tell them, man, we're going in that pit and we ain't coming out. They're like, this is for certain death. And they were like, okay, homie, let's fucking ride.
Yeah, ride or dies.
Okay, so a lot of people don't even get one of those. And I was blessed with 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I guess that's it. I got a bit of choking up, a bit of emotion right now, a bit of vibration happening, which is okay because I feel them here now with me saying, that's right, homie, we're still with you.
Yeah.
And you're a ride or die homeboy that needs to be that for someone else if it ever comes across.
Exactly. And I said to you in June, I was like, your homies don't want to see you sitting there all depressed thinking, oh, my homeboys, they want to see you like celebrating their life. You know, as I say, light a wee candle, have that wee interaction with them. And it just lifts you a little bit. You know,
that's it. They want to see me out in my garden. They want to see me down by the creek with my feet in the icy cold water. Like it's hot as hell out here, 30 plus degrees. And you put your feet in the creek down at my meditation area and it's icy cold. And like I was explaining to Nicole, eventually I'm going to get a placard made for down there that says, welcome everyone. Please bring your hate, anger, frustration, and sorrow and step in the creek and think of these things and allow the creek to release it and bring it to the ocean and dissipate it. Whereas the other day I was standing in the creek and I had none of those feelings, but I had a bunch of excess love in me. So I said to the water, I was like, please carry some of my excess love and help it dissolve people's sorrows and frustrations and anger before it reaches the ocean.
Absolutely.
Right? And that way, when they leave the meditation area or whatever area they want to call it, they can just leave some of that anger and frustration behind, but understand that it's welcome there. Because a lot of places, oh, it's a spiritual area. Don't bring your anger and your hate and all that stuff. Fuck, bring it here. You're a racist. Bring your racist ass self here and put your feet in the creek and ask the creek to dissolve the racism in you and realize there's only one race. It's called the human race.
Exactly.
And stop being prejudiced over somebody's faith or the color of their skin or their geographical location. Because we're all human beings, man. If you're racist, hate yourself because you're hating the human race. Let's not hate, let's love.
I totally agree. Absolutely. I just see people as souls. I don't see like age, looks, color thing. Like I just see souls. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
but I've
Yeah, I
been
see
brought
it
up
all
around
here. Like the
diversity.
snakes congregate at my farm and they follow me around. I see them and I'm like, hey, it's okay, buddy. You're welcome here. I was
Yeah.
like, but please don't eat the little frogs and toads. I was like, there's lots of dew worms and pests that attack my vegetables. Eat those. You know,
Yeah.
because I saw these little, couple little black toads yesterday hopping around my vegetables and I was watering them.
That's cute.
And I was like, hey, little guys, welcome to the bounty of insects and safety here.
I
And
love it.
like, you know, I talk to these animals as if they're just other souls because they could be. They very well just could be. My homeboy popped
Absolutely.
into a snake for us this summer and was like, man, we're going to creep around James's farm and see what he's
Absolutely.
doing.
I would do that. I would do that. But like, come on, let's go and like hunt them in a wee way. Absolutely. That's the thing. Like Lauren said earlier on, like spirits come to you in different ways. It's not just going to be like a manifestation of a ghost. Ooh, you know, like synchronicity. For me, it's when I go like it's music. It's literally music. The other day, in fact, love it that we're on this topic. A beautiful soul decided that this earth was not for him last November, and actually, it really devastated me that he took his life. His name's Mario Osmaz, around this area. So the other day, I was clearing out stuff, and I had my music on, and I like to put Spotify on. I've got all my like songs. There's like 500, and I put on shuffle. So I was clearing out stuff, and he's, you know, the funeral service, the leaflet thing. So I was looking through and I was like, oh, you know, just having that wee gutted, you know, like you were a beautiful soul, you're not here anymore. And then I put it away and then boom, his funeral song came on Spotify. And I was like, no way. I was like, you wee shit. Like, do you know what I mean? But I was smiling. I wasn't like, oh my God. I was like, he's done that. You know, and people might say, oh, wishful thinking or whatever, but I'm sorry. That out of 400 songs and it was on shuffle and it was his funeral song. It was I can't remember the name of the band. It's called Home. It's on all the TikTok videos and YouTube videos and stuff. Beautiful song though. So yeah, I was like, wow, no way. And then
you were talking about that the other day. Was it Enigma?
And then I was going to say, right, I didn't want to give too much away online, but we went on a date once, and he played that Enigma. He played Enigma, and then Enigma came on. So I was like, that is a double confirmation. And that plant fell out my hands as Enigma came on, and I was like, whoa! That's when I got a wee bit like, oh, wait a minute. Because you can't, like, to me, people are like, oh, it's a coincidence, and it's like there's no such thing as coincidence. I'm sorry. No,
I'm a stronger believer now that like they're no longer held by a physical dimensional body like we are.
Yeah,
right. They become literally everything until they're ready to come back here.
Yeah,
and do it all over again. Totally. You know, we choose to do everything we've done. Other than like.
Would you not do that? If you've passed, right? If you pass tomorrow, you're going to be like, see the next time that Zoe's on a stream. Remember the ghost that I had when I had all those orbs before? Yeah, that happens more in the winter because obviously it's darker in here. But you would come and you'd be like, I'm going to go and like poke her in the ear when she's on a live stream. You would do things like that. Or I'm going to make her kettle go on or something, you know?
You'd be like, why does this candle keep going out?
Why is my halo light disappearing? I'm like, James, you're jobby. But we would do that. And the only way that spirits can get in touch is either through a noise or what. So obviously you're going to get like a fright or the whisper.
My mom was really spiritual and straight up, like I told her, I was like, Mom, you do not come back and fuck with me. Right. Yeah, and then before I had Nikki sage my house, there was a few months that the dog kept looking up in a corner of my house and she would bark and she would growl. And then like not in a way of like, hey, there's an intruder here, but there's like there's something here above the door at nighttime. Right. And then I realized, oh, my God, that is the kitchen clock that I got. That my mom gave me at her house when I moved here. She's like, here's the kitchen clock. And batteries in it had died and stopped working. But I had kept the clock up there at the time. Like even when you put new batteries in it, it wouldn't keep time anymore. But I kept the clock up there for the longest time. And then I realized I was like, oh, my God. I was like, Mom, stop it. You're coming here through that clock memory and you're fucking with my dog.
Totally.
Right.
Totally.
So I did. I got rid of the clock and I saged the house just in case there were, or had Nikki sage the house just in case there was other things. And like sometimes my dog still looks up at where there's still a silhouette of where the clock used to be because I smoke and we used to have a wood stove here and I didn't get up on a chair and clean that section of wall because, well, hey, 46-year-old bachelor, my house isn't a write-off, but it does need a woman's touch.
Love it. Love it. She was like, change the batteries, James. Totally. And see, that's the thing, spirits of humor as well, I feel. And you know, I was going to say
one of the comments that was up earlier. It said to do something that your nan loved in order to like help remember her and to embrace that love. Yeah, one of my favorite things to do to not that I don't know if it was part of grieving that helped me grieve these people that I no longer feel loss for, is to cook their favorite food.
Nice.
And like. Even if it's one that isn't necessarily my favorite, but I do enjoy to eat it because generally I just cook my favorite things to eat, which is generally cheeseburgers and pork bellies. But, you know, sometimes I have to cook that recipe that was lost loved ones, and I have to enjoy the smell of that in the house. Like I'll have that simmering on the stove, and you go outside and you do whatever, and then you come back in the house and you smell that cooking, and it really triggers the memory of this human being. And then you can really welcome their energy around you that time and think about them while you're eating the meal. And thinking
even offer it to them, you know, put a wee plate out for them and actually put it there. And like, honestly, that works. Seriously. Like you can, I think it was Crone. She does like an ancestor supper on Samhain, which is Halloween. And you literally put out like plates and stuff for all your spirit family. And then they'll come. And yeah, I love that stuff. Like I totally believe in all that. I really do.
I still dump beer when I go to the forest. I still dump beer for all my dead homies because I've lost a lot of people that were homeboys that weren't necessarily ride or die friends, but they were really close. And like I just say to them, sorry, it doesn't got booze in it, homie.
Brilliant though. I mean, obviously, yeah, exactly. You'd have like a wee puff for your friends. Like this sounds mad, but when I'm doing like a ceremony or I'm doing like my journeys or something, I'll make a roll up and I'll just be like, here's 2 draws for you, because like your ancestors like tobacco, so it literally goes, and I put it just up there, and then they can do whatever. And I've got a little bottle of rum, Kraken rum, and I've got that in my altar. The best. I love the wee bottle. It's a wee octobottle, a wee Kraken. It's just, I love it. I love it.
I like to, when I did drink, I like to put 2 or 3 shots of Kraken into a really big hot chocolate.
Ooh.
I'm telling you, on a cold day, that will warm your soul.
I bet, absolutely. I had a whiskey the other day, actually. I was gifted a bottle of 14-year-old whiskey. I can't remember the name of it. Oh my God, I can't remember. Yeah. Oh, we were on a call, eh?
Yeah, we were. Yes, we were. And you're like, I should give this a try. And I was like, you should.
That's right. And then I was like, oh, I don't like that.
Yeah. You're like, that's not so bad. Oh, wait, no, I don't like that. I liked how you were like, oh, this is actually really good. I can see why people like, oh, no, no.
I forgot about that. That's right. And then I actually had one the other day as well with one of my neighbours, because he had a bottle of whiskey on him, and I was like, do you want some of the good stuff? And he was like, what have you got? And I was like, 14-year-old stuff. So I gave him a little nip. So yeah, what was Pew talking about there? Sorry, I wanted to see this. I did have it up. Stephen Greer spoke on a recent podcast about the happening which used to happen when they lost someone when he worked in A&E. Oh, so is it like after, like when they die and stuff like that? Please watch the series. Amazing. View on Angels actually got pulled even. Oh, right. Okay. I think that's what you mean. Oh yeah, I've heard that's good. Is that the same thing that he's talking about? See, I like a good recommendation, and then I'll go and like get lost into a series. Absolutely. Yeah. So, 2 seconds. I looked up the 7 stages of grief, and there's like an actual scale, like an official scale, And I can't remember where I saved it. Hold on a wee second.
All right.
Oh,
Well, while you're looking for that, I'm just going to, remind the viewers, if you enjoy this type of content, make sure to hit that thumbs up and leave a comment after the show. Subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any upcoming comment. And that's for all my channels. Not too concerned what you do here. No, I'm kidding. You got to do all that here too, people. We all love you. We're trying to build communities here. So
Love
don't
it.
leave anybody out.
Love it, love it. Yeah, as I say, James is at the Pure Love Foundation, and he's also got his personal channel, which has got all his cooking and his gardening and stuff. I didn't have time. I've been super busy. I meant to download a couple of videos that you sent to me, and then the Pure Wee Scone. The next day after you gave me this beautiful tour, I mean, I was like, "That's an actual farm." The storm came.
Storm of a century.
I couldn't
Right.
believe that. It was like something out the Wizard of Oz. Everything was just blowing, and I was like, "Oh, you're poor wee thing." But you said that everyone survived, and
Oh
it's done.
my landlords are crop farmers, and they said to me, they're like, James, plants are strong and they can survive this. And he goes, they will really grow a lot more afterwards. And there's
They're
been some
stronger.
explosion here. There's been some
Yeah.
explosion here.
Yeah,
So
I
they're
bet
doing
that.
really, really well. Yesterday, I gave my landlord a head of lettuce. His kids weren't around, so he got to have a nice evening just with his wife. And I was
Uh-huh.
like, bro, before you go home, I'll fresh cut the lettuce for you. So I went and I cut a whole
Right.
nice head of the butter crunch lettuce for him.
Love
And this
it.
morning he told me that they ate it with salad within half an hour of being harvested. And he's like, oh my
Wow.
God, that was like the best lettuce ever. And I was like, good to know. I was like, because next year I'm going to be growing lots of it, because he provided me some big, heavy black culverts that I can cut into sections so that I can grow the lettuce in raised beds in the shade, because lettuce doesn't like heat. It'll start bolting and get woody and very bitter. So
Yeah.
if I grow it behind my greenhouse, the north facing wall, it doesn't really get sun until 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Brilliant.
So it only gets like 4 or 5 hours of sun at most, and it's doing really well. I'm quite
That's
happy.
good. That's good. I learned about bolting last year when I done my kale. And it just, the centre of it will just go boom, and then it's gone. Literally, you've just fried. It's literally fried itself in the
Yep.
sun.
Yep.
But obviously this year I had the sewage problem, so I've only got like one planter with dill and parsley, and one planter with it's like a trio lettuce. So some of it's red, some of it's like sort of paler. I think it's Apollo lettuce, something else, and something else. So my bunny Apollo has been getting fresh stuff from the garden, but not as much as before. And I've noticed the lettuce from the supermarkets, I think they're sprayed with bleach or something. I know that sounds mental, but sometimes Apollo won't eat it. He literally turns his nose up at it, and it's all like, nah,
Okay, so
I don't like it.
it's not bleach. There's the stuff that we use in the restaurant industry in order to keep chopped lettuce green. And like if you have a bin of chopped romaine lettuce and it turns
All right.
rusty because you use metal, and there's an oxidization that can happen. That's why
Okay,
some people
yeah.
use porcelain knives, or they tear their lettuce by hand so that it won't go all rusty. There's
Okay.
this stuff that we mix with water and pour it on the lettuce and let it soak for half an hour and then rinse it off, and the lettuce is green again. It's not for human consumption, yet it's used in the food industry. It's meant to be washed off.
Right, okay.
Grocery stores do use this on their produce, even if it's organic. Okay? That's why you have to wash your produce from grocery stores. And even potentially, even depending on who you're buying it from, don't take their word for it. Like,
No, exactly.
I could say to you, I use no chemical pesticides, no herbicides, none of those chemical fertilizers. Are you in my garage? Are you in my greenhouse having
It's
a
true.
look?
It's true. It's true.
So I do
Sure.
use non-GMO seeds. I use traditionally practiced farming ways of, I use raw manures. I
Brilliant.
I try to use water-based, natural sourced pesticides and pestiturants if I have an issue. Like you can use tomato leaves. You can cut leaves off your tomato plants, chop it up, 2 cups of tomato leaves with 2 cups of water. Let that steep overnight or sit overnight. In the morning, strain it, and you have about 2 cups of this brown juice. Add 2 cups of water to it. Now you have almost 4 cups of an amazing pest deterrent.
Wow, that's interesting. That's really
Aphids are attracted, a lot of pests are attracted by the smell of things.
right.
So
Okay.
cucumber beetles and squash boring bugs and stink beetles, they're all attracted to the smell of a cucumbus plant, which is
Wow.
cucumbers, cantaloupes, watermelons, a bunch of varieties of plants.
Mhm.
So if you got some access to tomato leaves, you hack up your tomato leaves and you spray this all around your plants and
Mhm.
on the plants if you want to. You're going to wash it off anyways, or it might have a strange taste because you put this juice on it from some rotty tomato leaves. But
Hey, but
it
still,
makes
it's
the
better than
bu-
chemicals. I hate
it
that.
makes the bugs go away. And like chemicals, I buy chemicals and use them that are 99% organic derived. There's
Right.
1% in there that's man-made perithians, because
Okay.
you can use natural source perithians. You can make it yourself from leaves from certain plants. And
Mhm.
guys, like, look, if you only have a small garden, that'll work
Yeah.
because there's not enough pests there to become immune to it. But like
Yeah.
myself, I have 30 strawberry, or not 30, I got 20 some watermelon plants in the ground. And right
Amazing.
beside it, I have 17 now. I ripped one of the zucchini plants out yesterday. The bugs were getting it too bad. And all the other ones were thriving, right? If an infestation comes, using natural source pesticides that I can make myself will stop working. The bugs just
Okay.
are like, oh, fuck it. This ain't really doing too much. Oh, it killed a few of our
Okay.
cousins, but we're fine.
Okay.
So if I have to use a 99% safe made by nature and add 1% of man-made super toxin to wipe out an infestation, something that we used to be able to access, we can't anymore because pesticide laws have changed. It was called ambush. And like legit, it was a chemical. But I could spray it on an infested plant today, and 3 days later, even if there was no rain, if I tested what was on my plant, you'd find no residue,
Okay. Okay.
right? It evaporates into nature. It does it, and you got to use it early morning before the bees come out, or late at night when the bees have gone home, because they're contact killers. You spray it on the plants and on the bugs, and if that bug gets touched by this stuff, it's gonna go die.
Wow.
And it's the only way to save our food. And trust me, the Amish do it, the Mennonites do it, the Hutterites do it. They do it all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean you're poisoning your family. Like, come on, I'm 46 years old. I look pretty darn healthy. And I eat the food out of my garden.
Exactly. And it was there not that big scandal or something with that Roundup that was a weed killer, and that ended up like killing people, farmers, and there was like not
The
is that
farmers
crap?
still use Roundup. They still use Roundup. The seed they buy from Monsanto's is Roundup ready. They plant the seeds. They plant the seed and they spray the field at the same day.
And the McDonald's potatoes, the farmers for the McDonald's potatoes, because McDonald's reject any potatoes with a little bit of brown stuff in it, which is obviously a beastie's eating it, a bug, they use this chemical that is so bad that they don't go back into the field for 3 weeks. Or 3 days, maybe actually it was 3 days. You know me, I get my facts mixed up, right?
Yeah.
But it's that bad. And they literally have to wear all the full suits. And if it's that bad, that's obviously going in at the potato, and then that's going in at the fries, and then people are eating all the McDonald's. And it just gives me the fear. Like, even when I see the council people coming around and spraying all the wee weeds, I'm like, what's in that? And she's like, you don't want to know. And I'm like, oh, no, didn't he? Like,
so
no, I'm all for natural.
For any locals that might be watching this, that are like, oh, he just said that he sprays his fucking vegetables. Come and look. I'll show you my bottle of pesticide, because it says straight on it, for Poison Control Center, if ingested, call this number. There isn't one of those. There isn't one of those on the bottle. It says poison control. If ingested, drink lots of water.
Right, yeah.
So there's no risk. Like, if your kid drank it, your kid isn't going to die. They just need to drink a bunch of water to dilute it.
Yeah.
Right?
But
if it was dangerous,
what it does to your body, it must do something, surely, no?
I just mean, though, if it's dangerous to our bodies, they have to put a Poison Control Center phone number and who to contact if ingested. By law, it has to be on our labels here in Canada. So
Okay.
there's no poison control number on this product. It
Mhm.
just says if ingested, consume water.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. That's mad, eh? That's mad. Yeah, back to the grief thing. It's been so hard. There's been a lot of deaths of a lot of young people in the world, especially like I just keep hearing, that somebody else gone, that people I went to school with. So you're talking like in your 40s, early 40s, giving my age away there, guys. No, in their early 40s. And I'm just devastated for the children and the family that they've all left behind, because these people are literally dropping down suddenly. So I feel when it's a sudden death, no matter what it is, I'm not going on a vaccine
Yep.
rant, whatever it is a lot harder than watching somebody who's ill. I've had my dad was very ill. He had a brain tumor. And I literally had to watch him getting weaker and weaker and weaker. And at the end of it, I literally was like, please just go. Like, Dad, go and just go. Because I wanted him out the pain. He was like 6 stone skeleton. He couldn't even speak. It was just horrific. And when he went, I had like a thank God. Like I'm like, I think you grieve for people as they're dying. When they're ill, you grieve for them when they're getting ill. So when they go, it's kind of a relief because you know they're out of pain. And I think that helps more than obviously a sudden death. If it's a sudden death, you've got the shock, if it's a parent or if it's a family member, like it just affects so much. Whereas when somebody's passing away slowly, you put things into place, finance, you put, like kids are sorted, family members, pets, like
You're making that call. Hey, if you wanted to see Aunt Josephine, you better go in the next week or so because she doesn't have much time left with us, or we don't have much time left with her. She's got all the time in the world.
Yeah, like come and say your last words to like when my nana, and God, I feel so bad for this. I was very young and my nana had brain cancer and lots of other cancers. And supposedly every time the door opened, she was like, oh, is that wee Zoe? And I couldn't go and see her. I did not want to see my nana like a shell. I wanted to remember her as I do, so I didn't go and see her ill, but I do regret it because obviously it was my nana. But now being on the spiritual journey, I know that my nana's beside me and I can talk to her all the time. I've had spiritualists that have told me that my nana's always around me. It's just wee things like that I feel help. And I do advise anybody that is struggling with grief, I did even say this to Trudy, to possibly get a spiritualist, one that's well known, that's trustworthy, and they can connect with loved ones that have passed. And you might get that wee answer to the question that you were always wondering about, or you can finally say, yeah, you might not, or you can finally say what you wanted to say. A couple of spiritualist ones that I've had have caused more questions. And it's been like sort of more traumatic having them, but a couple of weeks down the line you understand why you were told certain things. And I just think it helps with the grieving process to feel that they're not completely gone, that they're still there. But that's just personal. I'm not saying spiritualists are for everyone. And please, if you do get a spiritualist, do your research. Your best with word of mouth. Don't just jump onto Facebook and get your local one unless they're good. So sorry.
And be prepared to hear from your loved ones that they're like, oh, like stop being such a twat in life because you're really fucking things up there from your loved ones in the afterlife, telling you to stop being such a retard. Oh wait, I don't know if we're allowed to use that word anymore.
No, but stop being a silly Billy.
Yeah.
No, I know on YouTube we're quite limited. I actually joined Rumble and BitChute as well because I'd like to get more relaxed conversation about certain things. And I think the only platforms I'm going to be able to do that is like Rumble and BitChute and stuff. So that would be good even for yourself. We can talk about adult things. We can talk about psychedelics. We can talk about experiences. That story that you told me the other day, which was quite funny. Like, do you know what I mean? Just a wee bit easier to speak about things. I would like that. So
less censorship.
That's the one.
and worried about having your channel flagged or tore down because of some
Yeah.
algorithm, because they're like, oh, well, that guy used the R word. And
Yeah.
earlier he said that racists were welcome at his house. And I was like, well, I
Right.
said they're welcome to come here and wash the racism away. Like,
No, exactly. You get flagged up for anything, and then all the videos I watch are just like letters instead of the words and stuff like that. And it's just not like a fluid watch, is it? It's just a bit arsey. But I get it. But the fact that you can't even say alcohol or, oh, sorry, here we go. I got a spiritualist out on a regular basis, made it in the girly nights, became good friends with a lovely lady who sadly passed last year. I'm sorry to hear that, but it's amazing when you get a good spiritualist. Like, honestly, I had one who literally morphed into my friend that had passed. Because she was like, is there anything you want to ask before you go? And I was like, well, yeah, like my friend. And she morphed into him, like she put her chest out and she was like acting like him. And I was just like, oh my God, he's actually came through. Like, it's just mad. I do, honestly, I just think it helps. And also Easy E, who's one of my mods, I've been on the phone to him, and like my gran who's passed, like just came into his room and like came through smoke, and he'll describe her, and I'm like, yeah, that's my gran, that's my gran. My best friend comes forward through mediums and comes to see me, always laughs and calls me a sausage and to keep going. I like that. I like that. See,
that's nice.
that's what I mean. I think it just makes it easier to cope with when you've got that little, yeah, they are there. Yeah, they can still see you. Yeah, they are still patting you on the back, sort of thing. It's not for everybody, and I know it's completely against some people's religions and whatever, but if it's something that you've thought about, I think you should go for it. I'm giving you the go ahead, everybody. And if you're in Scotland, I've got a really good one, so holla at me and I will pass the details on.
If you don't agree, that's okay. You know, I don't judge you if you believe, if you're a Catholic or another type of Christian, or if you are with Islam, or if you're a Buddhist, or if you're a Satanist, or if you're agnostic, or if you're any of the mass array of types of Hindus or any of this, I love you all. And I love all of your gods, and I love all of your beliefs, as long as they're not hate-based. There's a lot of a lot of people say Satanism is bad. Look, not all Satanism has anything to do with demonology or demon worship.
No,
right? It just is kind of, there's a lot to it, which I don't know at all. But therefore, how can I judge it? You know, you can't judge something that you don't understand.
There's going to be some badass, absolute weirdo, horrific, psychopath, nonsense. Oh, I've got to watch what I say, eh? But there's going to be all those people in Catholicism, in atheism, in Satanism, in everything, you know?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I absolutely agree. I don't judge anybody. It's hard when you're surrounded with people that make the same mistakes, but they still moan about it and things like that. We've had this conversation before about helping people when they're constantly, it's like they feed off us helping them.
Yeah,
but they don't actually want to help.
We've learned there's a difference between helping and enabling.
Yes, that's right. Right? That's right. Hi, Beasley.
Hi, Beasley.
Thanks for joining. Good to see you're back, my dear, with your 40 stone. She's got a big, massive puppy. It's 7 months, and I swear to God, it's bigger than me. No, it's 8 months, sorry, and it's absolutely huge. So you can catch her on Instagram. Thanks for that, Spiritual Effect. Yeah, thanks, Shakesh. Shakesh from Spiritual Effect's going to come on the show. He's going to, we're sorting out a date. Obviously, life gets in the way and stuff like that. So yeah, Shakesh is going to come on. I like to hear people's healing stories and what works for them, and you know how they got on their spiritual path and things that they've learned, what resonates for them. And I just love it. I love hearing other people's stories. I'm not a word porn person. I don't want people to sit and watch my videos because somebody's talked about all the abuse that they went through. I want to hear what you've done after that. I want to hear what you've done, you know, to make yourself better, not to fall into traps of self-harm, addiction and stuff like that, because it intrigues me. And I really think that if we can all help each other, you know, one thing might resonate for me and it might not work for you, but I don't know. I just feel like
there may be someone in the community that had an instance that they share, and therefore you feel less alone. And when we feel less alone, we all of a sudden are like, oh, okay, right, someone else went through this.
Yes.
But we can never look at the same river We can never walk on the same path. No one is ever going to totally understand you. If you're out there and you're hurting and you're grieving and you're at this point and you're saying to yourself, no one understands, nobody's ever going to fucking understand, you're right. And I'm sorry, but no one is ever going to fully understand my story. No one's ever going to fully understand Zoe's story. No one can understand that. We might have shared similar instances, so we have a place of understanding. And sometimes you're going to come across, no one has come across these things before that you might be sharing, and you might feel really, really alone. But remember, you're by yourself. You're not alone. We're all in this. There's people out there that are praying for you the way you've prayed for other people when you're just like, oh, please watch over everybody who may be in need, and you're projecting that kindness onto others. Open yourself to the fact that there are strangers out there doing that exact same thing for you right now.
Yeah.
They may not be using your name because they don't know it, but they still care about you because they know you exist, and they can feel your pain and suffering, and they're saying, it's okay. You're stronger than you think, or this wouldn't be happening to you. If you're this hurting because you lost something, then go with the opposite. You're actually hurting this much because you loved something.
Yeah.
And if you didn't have that love, it wouldn't bother you. And I know people will say, and I agree too, it's hard. We want to hug that loved one. Well, hug yourself and think about them, because we don't hug ourselves enough. And trust me, it feels really good.
Yes. Yes.
You know, just to wrap your arms as tight as you can and squeeze and say, bro or sister or auntie or mom, oh, I miss you and I love you, and close your eyes and think of it, because it's just an embrace. And the more we embrace ourselves, the more we understand what true self-love is. You know, because there's a difference between self-love and self-care, and sometimes people contaminate the two. They're like, oh, I do self-love. I took a bath. I got my hair done. I made sure my fingernails are trimmed, or myself, you know, I trimmed my beard. I got it tied up. That's not self-love.
So that's like the outside part of you. That's like your vessel.
Self-care.
Yeah.
That is a section of self-love, but there is so much more to self-love. And it can actually, it can change our bodies. If you keep saying to yourself, and you look in the mirror, you're like, oh man, I'm overweight, etc., you will gain more weight because you're telling yourself that. You are programming your brain. I look at myself in the mirror very rarely, because I don't know, there's the other side of me is on there, and he's too supportive.
Exactly the same. None of us like mirrors. It's quite bizarre that the three of us in the community, I have one mirror. That's it. I'm not a mirror person.
I have two. I have one over the sink in my kitchen, and I have one over my bathroom sink. And I don't like to look myself in the mirror, like Ron says, because I'm a fucking sorcerer wizard. And the guy on the other side of the mirror, I tell you, he's more positive than I am.
Yep. No,
the guy's relentless behind the mirror. He's always like, yo, bro, we got this, son. Fuck, hell yeah, man. You're looking good, bro. Now get out there and do that work, homie. You know, we got to get there. And the only way to do it is the hard work. And you know how to do that. And I'm like, man, just shut up for a minute. You know?
Like Michael Jackson says, man in the mirror. Absolutely. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. Absolutely. Yeah. That's nuts. And James, Easy is asking what your spirit animal is.
Many spirit animals.
Absolutely.
I think it changes, but I am followed by 2 black ravens and sometimes 3.
Nice.
And it's like the 2 that, and like, honestly, even when I was up in the mountains last week with Nikki going kayaking, I was like, oh, what's this? And we've actually found a murder of ravens in the forest.
Wow.
She wanted to go for a pee. So it's like, hey, let's go over to that campsite there where there wasn't people. We're out in the mountains, like legit. We had the entire lake to ourselves. We didn't see another person on that lake. It was wonderful. And right the beach that she picked to go to use the restroom in the forest was a murder of crows. and we kind of
Wow.
scared them away because we were going there. But then as we went back out on the lake and we were following the shoreline, sure enough, we came across them again, but we made sure to stay real quiet and we didn't dock the boat and go into the forest. We just kind of could hear that they were in there and found something awesome. They were like having a party. And like,
Totally. They're
there's
chatty,
two
aren't they?
ravens that live in the trees right behind my house. They used to have a big nest in the barns that got tore down here to build those silos, but they just rebuilt the nest over in the forest, and I haven't gone over to find it. I'm just letting them kind of get used to it.
Nice.
And I haven't got it set up yet, but I'm building a gifting table for the ravens.
Oh,
And
nice.
I know ravens' favorite food is walnuts. So I'm going to get some walnuts in the shell and put them in
Awesome.
my pocket. And then when I see and I hear the ravens that are like literally 100 yards from my house, I'm going to play raven sounds from my phone,
Nice.
a welcoming raven sound, and
Nice.
offer them walnuts because they have
Love that.
amazing facial recognition. So I'm
Okay.
just going to see how cool these ravens are going to get with me. They've known me I've been here 16 years now.
Wow. Wow. The land you've got in the house you've got is amazing. It's
Yeah.
just a brilliant place to live, just like in the middle of nowhere. That'd be perfect for me. Perfect. But yeah, spirit animals, you're right. Like, we have different spirit animals around us because we're calling on different energies or we're needing different energies. Like, we'll always have an animal that we love and we resonate with. You know, for me, like the lioness, because don't mess with my cubs because I will kill you. I would like, I've got
Yeah.
one cub, you know what I mean? Yeah, like that whole independence and, you know, that's what I resonate with. But I've never said it's my spirit animal. A stag is what always comes in my visions. Like when I do a journey and stuff, as a stag that comes as a spirit animal. But I'd firmly, like when I do Reiki, I'll call on, say I was doing your Reiki, I'll get to your solar plexus and I'm like, right, what spirit animals around James? And then whatever I'm shown, that's whatever comes to mind. It's funny, some people are like, it's an ant. And they're like, all right. Because you think, all right, an ant, a tiny wee thing. But when you go and research that, it'll be like you'll find out that you're actually sorting things out or you're wanting to scurry away and do things. And it resonates with every single person that I've done it with. And I
Right.
send it to them and they go and research it and they're like, wow. Somebody else was a stick insect, and I was like, it's a stick insect. Like, everybody wants the bear, everybody wants the lion and the stag and, you know, the big power beings, but no,
No,
sometimes
that's it, right? And I was gonna say, like, if I could choose what my
Exactly.
spirit animal would be,
like a wolf.
a sloth.
A sloth. I love
Yeah,
it. I'd be a
Because
clown.
okay, sloths have a micro ecosystem growing in their
Okay.
fur. That there is a type of moth that lives and breeds and comes out of the fur of the sloth, and it's found nowhere else in the world. And like myself, I have a larger capacity to love than any other person in the world. So it's like I have my own ecosystem of love inside
I
me,
love that. I
as
love
well
that.
as a sloth, when it knows that the love of its life, the person the sloth it's supposed to be with, they will swim like 25 kilometers across shark-infested ocean water to get to the island in which its female is on. And I'm the same way. If my female was across an ocean and I knew she was over there, I just had to get to her. Trust me, you know,
Exactly.
I would put in the work. I will put in
Absolutely.
the work for the female that I love.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So if there's any females out there that would like to get involved, now I'm only teasing, pure pimp you out on the podcast.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Now you're a good soul, and I tell you what, like whoever James ends up with is one lucky woman. This guy is so full of love and he's so humble and generous and loving, and honestly, everybody needs a James in their life. I'm not joking.
And another thing about sloth, have you ever seen a more chill, relaxed creature than a sloth? He'd just be sitting there as if he'd be praised by Jah Rastafari himself. He just lays back in the tree, hanging from his feet, going, man, this is the life. I don't have to go nowhere. I'm in no hurries to get things done. I'm just going to be here and relax for a while.
Absolutely.
And I don't know why the sloth talks like a Rasta, but he does.
He's got that vibe. Yeah, he's got that vibe. I quite like koalas for the same reason. They're just chilled. They just cuddle trees. I like koalas because they cuddle.
Oh, drop bears.
What?
Drop bears.
Is that what you call them?
Yeah, koala bears. They call them drop bears in in Australia because they get so high from eating the eucalyptus, they fall asleep and literally just fall out of trees, and they sit up with this stoned, dumb look on their face.
No
Hilarious.
danger! No danger! That's so funny. Oh, look. Hey, hi, Sean. How you doing? You'd rather have a Jamie?
Only my blood family calls me Jamie.
Jamie, really?
Yeah,
Do you actually get called Jamie?
A lot of them don't anymore, other than my cousin Christine,
That's
because
funny.
I was named after my two grandfathers. And when I was about 12 or 13 years old, that masculinity, had a few girls in my class who were named Jamie. And I was up here with my family, and they're like, "Hey, Jamie, come on, we're going to get some burgers." I was like, "My name is James."
Wow. Hey,
I was like, I was named after my grandfather, and you respect that. And it was actually ego that made me say my name is James, but no, I had defined myself as James because of a negative ego.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I've always liked my name because obviously it's a bit different. At school, there was 3 Zoes in my class, which was quite weird for such a small class. But yeah, my auntie, who's older than me, obviously, she has the same name, and she toiled at school because it was like people used to ask if her dad was African and stuff because her name was Zoe. And it was like, no, my granddad like works for the Scotsman. He's like a total Scots person. Like, no, like I just think it's funny. I was named after a James Bond. Oh, were you? That's cool. I like that.
I was named after both of my grandfathers. My first name is James, and then my middle name is after my other grandfather.
Nice.
But, and James was my grandfather, like my mom's dad's middle name. I got as a first name.
Kids called James. Look, Cass got a son called James, and Sean Fennessy has a son called James. I like
Jesus' brother, man. I'm Jesus's brother. That's why I know, because Jesus said I'm the Son of God, and we are all God's children, which made me understand. Oh, okay. He's not saying he's some fancy dude. He's just saying, hey, there's a God, and we're all from him.
That's cool. When I was being born, my father was watching Dr. No. That's cool. I was called Louise for the first 13 weeks of my life, because my mum didn't register me, and then the people came to the door to like register me, supposedly. I'm probably getting the story wrong as well. And then when they registered, she went, "It's Zoe." And my dad looked at her and was like, "What?" And she was like, "I don't like Louise." So I was called Louise, but it's my middle name. It's my middle name, so I'm like Zoe Louise. But I thought that was quite wacky because I was literally named something for like 3 months, and then my mum was just like, "No, I'm just going to change it." Owen is Irish. All right, okay. If you got that wrong, Craig, it's all right. I'll just remove your comment. Yeah, Craig's in the house. We've got Only Cans on Sunday, guys. Part 2 of the McCann special. Woo! Sorry, I don't know why I'm getting excited. It's quite a dark subject, isn't it? Because we're discussing, obviously, the wee scone. But you can't miss it. It's on Sunday at 5 o'clock. I think, Craig, you're going to have to remind me because my head is scrambled. But it'd be great if you could join us. We're probably going to be discussing the cadaver dogs and other things because we couldn't fit it all into the first one. It was absolutely crazy. So yeah, if you can join us on Sunday, awesome. And like James said before, I've noticed that 70% of the people that actually watch my videos aren't subscribed. So if you do like the content, please just subscribe. A wee thumbs up really helps with the algorithm because YouTube likes to hide us little channels. So yeah, it would really help me out. Hey, James, see, I done it. I remembered.
I legit was gonna just say that. I was like, as soon as she's done, I'm going to remind the subscribers to give that a thumbs up. And then you did it. And you were saying before the show, you're like, oh, I always forget. And I was like, don't worry, I'm so good at remembering to do it.
I've got it, but I actually remembered. So I'm actually, I'm named after my granddad's best friend in World War II, Stephen, which is short for, you're going to make me say that online?
Stefanovic.
Thank you. My dad got it passed on, so my signature is Spew. Yeah, cheers for that. Yeah,
nice. Stefanovic is a very awesome fucking name.
I like that. Thank you.
It's majestic.
Hi,
Marco Kurjala, my brother from Finland. I love you so much. Thank you for being here. Oh, this is for you, homie.
Oh, I
Marco is a ride or die homeboy, but he's 7,000 fucking kilometers from me. I met him in Turku, Finland, and we became best
Wow.
friends. He came to Canada and
Wow.
visited me for 30 days. When I was depressed and going to put a bullet in my head, he goes, dude, let's go to fucking Spain. So I went and spent a week in Spain with him. Man, he's a talented musician. Oh my God, can this guy sing and play guitar? Like,
And does he have
amazing.
videos up? Does he have
I don't
videos on YouTube? Because
I
if
don't
you
even
do,
think he has YouTube
Oh.
video.
okay, I was going to say people go and check out his music. That'd be all. But thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Happy days, Jamesy. Nice one. I like
Big
that.
time, man. That
I
just
like
made my
that.
day a 12 out of 10 already, and the day's only getting started. And I'm already having a
Hey.
12 out of 10. The bonus points keep rolling in,
That's
one after
amazing.
the other. So
I
many
love that.
blessings.
I love that.
The
Absolutely.
blessings of your subscribers sharing their stories of how they got their name or loved ones that they've lost. And Sakhmet, was it? Sharing that little bit of a... Sorry?
Shikesh.
Oh,
Shikesh.
Sakesh?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry.
sharing that. I was really glad because I asked because he's so eloquent in his writing. So
Yeah.
I was like, "Are you writing something?" And he was like, "No, not at all." And he's just, yeah, I really like his work. So as I say, I'm going to connect with him. We're going to get a wee podcast together. I'm going to have to cut this shortish because I have got an important phone call at 6:30. I've got hypnotherapy. Not starting tonight, but we're going to organise some appointments and stuff.
Is it not 6 o'clock there right now?
It's 6:05.
Yeah,
So
and your phone call was at 6?
It is at 6, but yeah, it's all good. I'm running fashionably. I'll just be like, hold on, I'm on a podcast. No, I'm only joking.
Like, hey, I'm a podcaster here, yo. I got shit to do.
With 148 subscribers. No, I'm actually very grateful because Sonia Poulton from Rise had Bev on, who does hypnotherapy, and she basically asked if anybody would like it, and she was inundated with people. And the lady who's working with people that were very suicidal, so obviously they come first before me and stuff. But she's arranged for one of her colleagues to work with me, so that's going to be amazing. I'm really looking forward to it. It's just for the anxiety. I've obviously, because coming off the codeine and like integrating back from stuff from Campbell and stuff, the anxiety, it's my brain rewiring. It's mad. It's like my brain's waking up, but I've got like this absolutely anxiety of just madness. I don't even know what it's for. So that's what I'm going to work on, hopefully with the hypnotherapy.
Words have power. Stop labeling it anxiety. You're having vibration.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I'm saying it's my brain waking up, because I'm realizing that the times I'm getting anxious is when I'm a bit like, right, what am I going to do now? And I'm very programmed to be constantly doing something. You get me? I find it very hard to relax. I can't just be, that's probably why I do participate in medicinal marijuana, just to chill me out, because I find it very hard to relax. I'm high energy. Like even sitting here, I've got my feet up on things. Like I'm constantly fidgeting. I have to have something in my hand. So yeah, I just feel I need something to just wind it back. As you say, separate the anxiety from excitement, from just normal feelings and emotions, and realize that over 20 years, my brain's been coordinated. So it's like, I feel it's waking up now. It's like all these wee neurons are like, and I'm obviously microdosing. So microdosing is rewiring as well. So yeah.
For sure. It helped me a lot to stop labeling the vibrations.
Well, you
I'm
helped
like,
me.
I'm having vibrations in my chest. And I was like, they're weird.
No, you helped me. So I was like, why am I like this after in front of every stream? I'm really, and you were like, Zoe, maybe it's excitement. And I was like, oh yeah. You were like, you've just been programmed that every time your heart races, it's a negative feeling. And I was like, shit. You hit me, boom. I was like, right, it's resonating, I'm taking that. So now I'm like, no, this wee thing is excitement. And now I don't feel it anymore because I'm not waiting for a feeling. I just kind of slide into it and mess up at the beginning, but hey ho.
Yeah, like I'll say, so I'm like, I'll know probably the day before your son is coming home. I'm going to remind you to actively concentrate on the vibrational feelings you're having when you see your son. The heart racing, and you tell me if you can tell the difference between that and anxiety. The vibration, not the mind.
No,
totally.
Vibrations. No, totally.
Because they're going to be the same. They're the same. fear, excitement, anxiety, they're all the same, rapid. And
It is
then we
true.
just label them with something
Adrenaline
positive or
rush.
negative.
It's adrenaline, isn't it? Because it's adrenaline that gets your blood going and your heart racing. So is it good adrenaline? Is it fear adrenaline? Is it, And I have to say, Kath, you haven't. It's so weird, Kath. I knew you with other women. It's so weird. Right. Anyway, so Sonia said to me, "Listen, it's actually two guys that Bev's dealing with," and she said, "You and another lady," and I instantly was like, "It's Kath. That's so weird. You've just confirmed that you are the other one that's going to get the hypnotherapy." So yes, Kath, I like a wee confirmation. Because she said, "Zoe, you and another lady," and Cass just said, "Yep, it's definitely, I like that, I like that, I like that." Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up because I might end up missing my hypnotherapy.
All right. So
Talking about it.
let me just say this one last thing.
Of course,
This is
of
to
course.
everybody that's out there. I believe in you.
No.
I believe in you. I believe in you. If you don't believe in yourself right now, there's a lot of us that do. Because when I'm not believing in myself, I know that you're out there believing in me. I love you. I love you. I love you. You are so worth every moment of this existence. And when you realize it, you'll start reaching your full potential even better and better than you're doing right now. And you're all doing amazing, even if you don't see it. Some of you see that you're doing amazing and you know you're on the right path. Keep going. You know it gets treacherous up here and the air gets a little bit tough to breathe. That's okay. We're preparing for it. We are ready for this. A new existence of peace, love, understanding, and compassion is here for all of us. Use it in your daily life best you can. It's a practice. That's all it is. We practice it. We're going to forget. I'll be there to remind you like you're there to remind me. So thank you very much, each and every one of you.
Honestly, James, you hit my heart. Like, honestly, your words, your wisdom, your soul, you're making me emotional just now. Sorry. I'm so lucky. No, honestly, you do. You made me cry on about 8 streams now. But yeah, like, I feel your love. That was really strong, and I feel that. And I hope other people did in the comments as well, because you truly are an amazing person. And I know you have those days that you doubt yourself. And we are here to remind you that you are effing awesome, like you do to me, like we all do. And that's why I love this community. I'm going to start like another Synchronized Souls wee group chat, and you're welcome to help with that. Just if we can get as many souls together and we just keep each other going, even on the live streams. Like, James, this is why I love having you on the show, because you're just a man of such wise words, and it really is from the heart. It's not for clout, it's not for likes and clicks and all that crap. It's really just for us, and I love that.
Man,
Oh
if
my
it
God,
saves
you made me
one
cry
person,
again.
if one person that was not going to breathe anymore today by their own choice sees and hears those words and says like, whoa, okay, I'm just going to make it through this next 1 minute.
It's
and
true.
then they get to, I can make it through 5 minutes. And then
It's
they made
true,
it through to the next day. And then they're like, oh shit, okay, let's start this over again. I can do this. Then we've done our job.
Thanks, Kath. That's what Kath's saying as well. She feels much better. You're my inspiration for going for it. I love that. I love that. If we all just try and heal a little bit every day, baby steps,
Remember,
and there's no failures.
There's no failures in life. We just learn ways to not do things.
Exactly. It's all lessons.
The first person who made cake didn't know how much eggs and sugar and flour to add. They had to figure that shit out.
Exactly. Right. Love you loads.
Thank you
so much. If you've not already, please like the video before you leave. You'd really be helping me. And yes, we'll see you all next time. Thank you once again for bringing us, James. Love and light, everybody. Goodbye.